Hey there, everybody. I genuinely don't know what day it is. I think it's Wednesday. Um, Last year, I had talked about the space behind us, which is my neighbor's property, some 67 acres that, up until a few years ago, was fairly similarly forested to our space. Um, yeah, you can see what he has left. There are stands, and it was not a complete clear cut, but we did notice that they harvested very many of the hardwoods, and part of the reason they had done that is because the first cut they did several years ago, I guess they didn't plan for the wind over the winter, and so they had a lot of blowdowns, and they took out power for the neighborhood for a few days, and the power company made them come out and clear things up and all of that jazz. But so I'm out in the woods, and we're gonna turn around now, and I'm gonna show you what our side of the property line looks like when you don't account for wind. There are actually, I'll zoom a little bit. There are actually trees back there that were knocked down by these 3-4 trees. And then there are additional trees under these couple of trees. And then there are additional trees up under these handful of trees. And there are a few more back there, and I am just kind of slowly working my way into the mess of this to try and make sense of it all, and make gardens of it all, and make yields of it all, because that's what my sense tells me. There's so much here, and being honest, a lot of it was hemlocks, also sometimes commonly called eastern red cedar, even though it's juniperous. But so there's a lot of mostly straight, soft woods that are slightly harder than white pines. They tend to have a gorgeous inner grain structure, and one of the trees over there by where the chainsaw is I don't know, 30-40-year-old maple. When I count it, or when I cut it down for log lengths, I'll count rings and I'll make a thing of it. But so I could get upset. I could say, look at all of this work that I have been handed. And I guess a little bit I am, but if I mind my P's and Q's, and that's my permaculture and my quixotism, I can really turn a situation that would be negative into something positive, and think about ways that I can structure these things into beautiful gardens and a lovely space to walk through once I take care of all of the safety concerns that are now apparent. As a side note, if any of you are forestry professionals or intersect with forestry professionals in a professional capacity, y'all wanna hook us up? We have a lot of lollipop-looking trees now, and they are heavily exposed to the winds coming off of the river across 67 acres that are no longer integrated with them as a windbreak for the whole area. So let's put a pin in that. If any of you have professional resources, I've reached out to a few organizations and message boards and things, but while it could turn into a too many cooks kind of situation, I think having a wider array of opinions on what to do to keep our area safe for management and for enjoyment, all the resources we can get would be great. Thanks. I guess I should apologize. When I was younger and I misbehaved in school, I would have to miss recess so that I could copy by hand an entire page out of the dictionary, letter for letter, symbol for symbol, and the definitions. So it was the whole thing, spelling and definitions, and because of the fact that I was not a well-behaved kid, I now have too much vocabulary. So I apologize, but also, you're welcome. Words are fun. So, in thinking about what I can use and what I can do and what I can conceive of, all of these upturned roots here, all of these clusters, colonies, and stands, right? All of this now has vernal pools. You can see water is still sitting in this one. So, at the very minimum, even if there were not frogs or other stuff, that looks like a whole bunch of mosquito larvae. So at least we're feeding something, even if it's the mosquitoes to me, or me to the mosquitoes. But so this is a water source for potential gardens. This is a vertical growing space that has tons of woody material that is going to slowly break down and could provide some really nice things. Right now it's kind of dusty, but there's no reason I couldn't come in here and just drill a few holes into the dirt that has accumulated and been held by these root masses and install things like strawberries or vining things or, mosses, ferns, vertical climbers. What if it was something that was a running climber or a vining layer going up this with some water holding capacity down at its feet, a bank of soil to allow it to get out of the water if it needed it, and then plenty of gnarly vertical space to climb and provide habitat or food or pollen or shade or medicine. What would that look like? Could I harvest stone? Could I make furniture or buildings or other structures in the woods from this downed material? Can I do it in a way that is ethical and a decent value proposition for the amount of work that it is going to cost me in labor? The maple that's up there is large, but it's old. It's got a good diameter to it, and if I can bucket appropriately and weasel my way down here with a tractor, I could have a whole lot of free firewood in 2024's beginning of winter, and I could feel better about how I sourced that free firewood because it was a tree that came down without my doing so. So these are just little things. Permaculture gives us iterative design, gives us regenerative design, gives us a toolkit to view challenges and unfortunate circumstances as opportunities to make the space better because of a new constraint. And, the limitations of a space can very often be the thing that drives the overall creativity, ingenuity of a design and a designer. So, I have to go eat something because it is laborious limbing all of these trees to make it so that it is a safer workspace when I do start bucking them. But yeah, I wanted to take an opportunity and just post some thoughts, because when something like this happens, you have choices to make. And in my position, for my sensibilities, and I'm hopeful for your sensibilities too, yes, there is that initial sense of disappointment at loss of such a beautiful canopy structure. But when I'm done cleaning this area up, I'm going to have a ton more sun, which means that there is a larger opportunity for even greater variety of speciation back here. And there's an opportunity for me to be able to create outbuildings back here that will allow me to house supplies or wood or materials like compost or leaf litter or another set of tools or carts for lumber harvesting and those sorts of things. So, yeah. I appreciate you all. If you have some suggestions for species we could add in or other considerations that I might not have mentioned in here, I'm going to definitely appreciate them, because as much as the physical labor allows my unconscious mind to ruminate on what to do, it's also very much burning calories, maintaining balance and safety, and thinking about where my feet are and where the blades of an axe or a chainsaw or a pole saw are. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. Happy planting.